I'm really bad at making friends. In this episode, we're going to be talking about making friends and why I've had this tumultuous relationship with it throughout my entire life. And we're going to be talking about my childhood and coming all the way up to the present day. So, buckle up. I'll be sharing some tips and tricks I've picked up during my time on Earth, and I will be discussing why even sometimes those tips and tricks are difficult to do. Let's make some friends. Probably, maybe. I don't know. You never know, man. I wrote a lot about this episode in my notebook. So when I was little, I had no problem making friends. I was like the most extroverted person in the world when I was a kid. I was full of energy and life, and I remember being in the neighborhood when I was little. I was like 5. My sister was probably 6 or 7, 6, 7. That's so stupid. I'm sorry. And my sister had a bunch of friends. Like all the neighborhood kids were all girls. So my sister was friends with all the neighborhood girls, and I didn't really have any neighborhood guys. And she was like the older sibling, so I just kind of followed her everywhere, and I was friends with all the girls. Oh my God, this makes so much sense. Yeah, I just pieced it together. I grew up with all sisters till my baby brother was born when I was like already of age and like old. He's like 4 now and I'm 21. I was 17 when my baby brother was born. I just realized like whenever I like speak to girls, I like click with them so hard, and it's like so much easier to like talk to girls. That's a topic for another day. I low-key just relate to girls harder sometimes. I just be introspective for real. I'm just like I be reading like feminist literature and like drinking my matcha, and I just start clicking with all the chicks and stuff like that. It's not a big deal, but so when I was little, I would just follow my sister around and be friends with all her friends, and as I got older, I started making my own friends. I'd go around the neighborhood and just like anyone I saw, I'd talk to, and I became known as Diego, like Diego the Explorer. No, that's Dora the Explorer. Like, go Diego go, that guy, Dora's cousin. Cause my hair looked like him, and I had like a Diego bike and stuff, so they called me Diego. And then I don't know, it forced me to become social very young because I wanted to make my own friends, and I didn't like always having to follow my sister around to hang out with her and her friends. And in first grade, I began my moving around a lot. I lived in like 14 different houses growing up, and I went from I let me think, how many different schools did I go to before graduating high school? I went to 12th Street Elementary in Michigan. No, 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 no. I went to Mooresbridge for kindergarten. Mooresbridge, then I went to 12th Street, and then I moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I went to King. No, no, I went to Carpenter, and then I went to King. So 4 elementary schools. Then I went to Clegg Middle School, and then I moved to Finland, and I went to International School of Vanta, and then I moved to Texas, and I went to that high school, then that high school, and then wait, I lost count. Hang on. Is that 9? I think I reset after 5, so 8 schools, not 9. I went to 8 different schools, and I moved houses like 13 times or something. I've lived in like 14 houses. This is probably the 15th place I've lived in my life. And I'm counting like even the apartment I lived in as a baby, but still, it's like 15 in my life. Point is, I moved around a lot, and it all started like here at this point after living in this neighborhood where my sister was friends with all of these people. So from a very young age, I had to get good at making friends. Because like once a year, I had to just drop everyone and meet new people and try to make them like me. And I feel like that made me a very, very extroverted kid, sometimes to a fault, to the point where I'd get bullied for it. Like when I was in middle school in Finland, I remember that they used to call me crack kid, just because I was like always energetic and like excited about things, and I didn't even then I didn't like really let it get to me. I missed my friends from Michigan a lot at that time, and I was like really sad about that. But I wouldn't let myself get down when I was at school in front of people. and they're calling me crack kid and making fun of me for whatever, I wouldn't it wouldn't affect me then, but like when I went home at night, I remember it being like really difficult during those 2 years I was in Finland to just feel like I belonged there. But I would like make friends with the people who would make fun of me. I was friends with my bullies. I remember kind of like gamifying it too. Like they'd do something mean and I would like make it even meaner just to like make them see like, oh, I don't even care. And like I cringe thinking about it now, but like when I was in middle school, I did not, like I just needed to get through it, you know? I don't know. Like I remember once they were like, I think I was talking about some girl I liked who was in our class to like these two guys. I was like, yeah, I really like her, blah blah blah. She's so pretty. I'm like a seventh grader, and then, and then one of them had his phone out and was like recording the whole conversation, and I was like, and then he showed me at the end. I was like, dude, delete that, delete that, delete that. He's like, I'll delete it if you carry our backpacks at like recess time. And so I was like, okay, fuck it, I don't care. Yeah, just I'll carry your bags. I don't even care. Just do not show her that. And then, um, and then when we were like at recess or something, I remember like I was holding like three bags, like their bags and then mine. And then I made like a game out of it, and I just got like everyone's bags, and I was holding like 20 bags, just seeing how many I could hold. And it was just like this thing. It's kind of like irrelevant to the friendship theme, but I just remember that story. I felt like rehashing it. Man, that was embarrassing. That was a rough 2 years. I wonder if he ever showed. I don't think he ever deleted it either. I wonder if that guy ever deleted it. I don't know. But so finally, after like eighth grade, I I was done with middle school, and we finally moved back to the U.S. and we moved to Texas, and I started high school in Texas. And for the beginning of high school, I stayed in that phase. I was very extroverted, and I joined theater, which is like a bunch of other extroverted people. And I think being in the theater environment where everyone was kind of like me and just kind of like really too much, after a couple of years in theater, after 10th grade, I kind of reached this point where I was like, oh my God, I'm tired of being the weird one. I'm just sick of it. And I wanted to just I wanted to fit in. I thought I finally came to this conclusion in 11th grade of high school. Maybe people don't like me. Maybe I don't have any real meaningful relationships because I'm too outgoing. This was the conclusion I came to, which now looking back it's a stupid conclusion. And I think I just moved around so much, and that's why it was hard for me to like have lasting relationships. It was just I moved so much as a young when I was young. I moved so much, and then so finally after a few years of staying put in Texas, I realized, oh my God, the problem is I'm too awesome. And I sort of in 11th grade, I feel like I entered this kind of like middle schooler phase where, middle schoolers are like, it's like the cringiest age. It's where they all bits of their personality that they had as a young kid and the things that made them like so amazing and so human, such an awesome little kid, they throw all that out the window in favor of fitting in and feeling more socially acceptable, because that's the age where you start to think about that, when you start to hit puberty and you're like, man, I want to be cool. I want that girl to like me. Oh, I want to just be like sporty. I want to, like, you decide what personality you want just off of stereotypes in movies and cliques and things you see, and you decide like, oh, I want to be a sporty jock. Yeah, I want to be like that. And that's in middle school is where you throw your personality out the window and you just start to force yourself into this little echo chamber of, oh my God, I'm gonna do this, or I want to be really smart. Like there's a lot of people. I grew up with a lot of people who wanted to just be like known as someone super smart, and so they just lock in on that personality trait and build a new personality all about that. And then as you get older, you finally start to get out of the middle school phase. You get into high school, and and you're still awkward for a little while, but finally you start to mesh your old personality and your real personality that you had as a kid and you had when you got older with your middle school phase personality. And that's how we get all our quirks. That's my theory about that. But I was like a late bloomer because I moved around so much. I entered my middle school phase when I was settled in enough to a certain place to start being awkward. So I made it to this point where I thought people didn't like me because I was too outgoing. And so I entered the middle school phase. I chucked my personality out the window and I feel like I started making friends. Like I feel like 11th grade is when I finally started making relationships and like friendships that lasted. And I'm still friends with a lot of people I became friends with, like close friends with in 11th grade. But I sort of chucked my personality out the window for that little bit. You know, I was a blank slate. Someone would talk to me, say they're into this. I'm like, oh, I know a little bit about that, and suddenly I'm very interested in it. You know what I mean? Like you meld yourself. You become very malleable and moldable, like wet clay. You just become whoever you need to be to fit in. And that's a good skill to have. I still think I'm very good at that skill. You guys probably noticed if you've watched my YouTube videos at all in the last few years, it's like when I'm with my friends, I have a different personality than when I'm just sitting by myself talking to the camera, and that's just normal. You know, a lot of times people are like, dude, what is this? Why is he talking like this? I've gotten comments that are just like, why is he like this right now in this video? Like, this isn't the Isa I know. It's because a lot of the time, most of my videos, I'm just sitting by myself. But when it's a video where I'm completely with my friends the entire 25 minutes, I'm making jokes and I'm jumping around, like, that's just normal. You're going to act different. And they're both you. You're not, like, putting on an act. It's just that's the way it works. So I made it to college. And my freshman year of college and senior year of high school, I sort of like became very depressed. I was not in a good mental state. I had been in my middle school phase for a while, and I think I exited that middle school phase around the time I started my YouTube channel in September of 2022, about 3 years ago. Man, it's about to be three. What day is it? I think today or tomorrow is the day. It's September 2nd when I'm recording this. I think this might be my 3-year anniversary of my channel, my first YouTube video on my channel. That's crazy. Wow. 3 years on YouTube. So yeah, for the past 3 years, after like 3 years ago, I exited that phase and I kind of decided this is who I am. I know who I am now. I'm done pretending. And I started my channel and I slowly climbed out of this big pit I had dug for myself, where I was just down forever, and I slowly climbed out, and now I feel much better. I'm not depressed anymore. I have so many videos about depression. If you're struggling with that, we won't get too into that today unless it is directly relevant, but you can go to my YouTube channel and find a lot of that. Link is in the description. So when I was in college, I didn't have very many friends. I didn't make very many friends in college until the second half. I'd say my third year of college, I started making college friends. The first 2 years, I was mostly on my own. Year 1 of college, I was depressed, on my own completely, didn't have any friends, and I hadn't started my YouTube channel yet. Second year of college, I started my YouTube channel like the first week of my second year of college, and so I was making my videos. I was like a little happier, and one of my best friends from high school, Yasser, who you guys know from a few videos, he transferred to my school, my university, and so I would hang out with him and all of his friends because he knew a bunch of people. I didn't really know too many people. So I'd hang out with Yasser and his friends, but I didn't have a lot of like my own friends. Yasser was the only one who was like my own friend. And yeah, I got closer to the other people, but I felt like it wasn't the same because I didn't like, I was only hanging out with them at first because of Yasser. And so even though I got close to them over time, it wasn't the same as someone when you meet them and they're your friend. You know, I don't know how to explain it, but I love those guys. Those guys are so awesome. Everyone I met, it was like in that friend group, I had such a good time. But sometimes I feel it takes the knowledge that I found these people and I connected with them for no other reason other than we connected, we clicked. For a friendship to like become really deep, you know, you have to sort of make it yourself. You got to do it. Or at least that's how I am. I don't know if everyone's like that. Maybe I just have like an ego problem. I need to pick my own friends. So finally, I reached my junior year of my bachelor's degree 2 years ago, and I needed some friends. And I remember Yasser introduced me to my friend Muhammad, who you guys met in a lot of different videos. Love that guy. And I remember neither of us really had a lot of friends. Like, we were kind of like each other's only friends besides Yasser. And so me and him kind of just like stuck together for a while. And we went. I saw a group of people in like the study lounge. This is my junior year of college. Saw a group of people in the study lounge at the beginning of the year, and I was like, they look fun. I want to be friends with them. Like I was like target acquired. This is a side tangent. I'll get back to the story in a second. Hate that my dorm room is on the first floor. Cause like, listen, I don't know if you can hear that, but they're just yapping outside. Like I'm at the street level. If someone's screaming on the street, I'm so much closer than whoever's on like the 10th floor. I would barely have heard that if I was upstairs. It's just annoying. I saw this group in the study lounge, and I was like, I want to be friends with this group. They seem cool. And I didn't know how to like insert myself into this group. So I kept sitting there for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks went by, and I just would watch these people while I did my own thing. I was like editing my videos, and I'd look over and be like, man, I kind of want to be friends with them. And so at this point, I knew like what all the members of this group looked like. I knew where they sat. I knew like all these things about them, and they had no idea who I was. I was just like watching them for like a month. And so one day I get to school early. It's like 8 in the morning, and there's one guy I went to like Sunday school with 4 years ago. He I saw him sitting there, and he was talking to one of the guys from that group. And I was like, this is it. This is my chance. And I'm like, yo, Adam, how you doing, man? How you doing? I sit down next to the guy I knew and introduced myself to the guy I wanted to know. And suddenly, I was in. I talked to this guy, and we clicked. His name's Michael. Freaking love Michael. He also moved away the same time I moved away. When we both left Texas at the same time. He went up to Michigan. Love that dude. Nicest guy. One of the nicest people I've ever met, genuinely. I met him, and I sort of just started hanging out with him every day. And I brought Muhammad into the group, and then I met the rest of the group, and then I became friends with that group. And that group actually expanded way further than I ever thought, until it was like overwhelming how big this group was. In total, this group, if you count all the like subgroups within the group, probably like 60 people, 60-person friend group. And like everyone sort of knows everyone. You're only close to like 10, 15 of them. But even 10, 15 close friends is overwhelming. I don't know if you guys have ever been in a friend group that big, but it was my first time. And it was like, whoa, what is going on right now? Like, I knew everyone by the end of 2 years. By the time I graduated, I knew everyone. But I literally like separated myself from that friend group after a year just because it was so overwhelming. But that's what I mean is you can find one person, and suddenly you have a bunch of friends. You know, you just kind of have to pick and choose the right people. I'm a very choosy person. And that's why I didn't like the large friend group thing, is because you don't get to choose all 60 of those people. You know, you get to choose the ones you get close to, sure, but it's hard to just have to be around that many people so frequently whenever everyone's doing something. And then I moved to Vienna. I graduated my undergrad degree last spring. It's now September, so the summer it's been like 3 months since I graduated. And now here I am. I'm on the other side of the world, about to start my master's degree. And I have like the first day of welcome week in a couple hours. I'm going to go over to my campus and do that. And I've been struggling to make friends again. I'm back to this. Finally, for the first time in my life, I got to settle down in Texas. We were there for like, I lived there for 8-9 years. That's the longest I've lived anywhere in my entire life. Longest I've stayed in one place. So the relationships I built there, the friendships I nurtured, are suddenly just gone. And I'm back to feeling like a lost fourth grader who has moved schools 4 times since before fourth grade, you know? And so I lost all my friends, but now there's also this added barrier to entry of like now I make videos, and I decided to make this Vienna series when I moved here. So now it feels like so many people, and whenever I meet someone, it's because they like come up to me on the street and they're like, "Hey, oh my God, I saw your videos," which is like, I don't know, like it's not even like an arrogance thing. It's just like it's hard to become friends with someone when they already know you before you even get to learn their name, you know? And I'm not like complaining, you know, it's cool to get recognized. It's cool to get like that recognition and, oh my God, this guy knows me. I didn't even say anything to him. But like it's making me nervous. I'm hoping it's not as big as the problem that I think it is, but it's making me nervous because every time I go to my school, my campus, I've gone like 4 times now, and every single time I've gone, like everyone knows me. It's so weird. Like I've gotten emails from my school saying like, "Hey, do you want to like collab, do some like promo for us?" And I haven't replied because I'm like, dude, I don't want to be like even more known at this school. Like I just want to like go to school and make friends and stuff. I wish I started this series later on after I already had some friends and stuff. But hopefully it's fine. I don't think everyone at the school is gonna know me. You know, I'm like overthinking it 100%. But that's this added barrier now because I came to Vienna and I made videos about Vienna, so everyone in Vienna is getting it on their For You page. And it is kind of cool though. It is kind of cool when you go outside. Like I literally haven't left the house in 2 weeks without someone saying, "Hey, I saw your videos." I'm getting better. I'm getting less awkward about it. When people come up to me now, I'm like, "Oh, no way, that's so cool." At the beginning, I was like, "Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah." Like, I kid you not, that was my reaction. "Oh, yeah. Man, that's crazy. No way." I was so awkward. I'm a little better now. Like a little bit. Not that much. I'm still pretty awkward. But some lady on the subway gave me some cooking advice the other day and helped and wrote down an international grocery store I could go to get like spices and stuff. She was awesome. Like I just don't want to make fake friends that only want to be friends with me because I make videos. You know, that's my fear here. But hopefully that doesn't happen. We're gonna see. So now we've broken down the background. I've given you guys my entire life story and history of friendships. And then we broke down the problem. The problem is I've been struggling to make friends since I was young. I was super extroverted, lost that, became more introverted, and now I've reached this middle ground where I just kind of bounce off the energy I receive. You know, if someone's like super excited, seems like they're excited to talk to me, suddenly I have so much energy and I can talk to them. But if no one's talking to me, I'm like the most quiet person. I sit in the middle. I sit in the corner and I'm afraid to like open my mouth. I'm like, man, am I breathing too loud? Like I kid you not. I'm like so introverted unless someone talks to me, which apparently is called an ambivert, but I feel like we come up with too many words. Do you know what I mean? Like we come up with just way too many words. Did we really need the word ambivert? It's like, yeah, it's like when you're an extrovert and an introvert, so it's an ambivert. Like, we don't need all of that, man. It's just like, yeah, I feel like I'm a little more extroverted. That's all you really need. Whatever. We come up with too many words. That's my hot take. Okay. You guys know the show on like Instagram Reels, TikTok, Subway Takes, with that guy Kareem? He's always like, "So what's your take?" And then he has them talk, and they're like, "Yeah, we have too many words." Like they'll say something like that. Whenever I see that, I start thinking about what my take would be if I got on Subway Takes. Hey, Kareem, fly me out, man. I'll come on Subway Takes, man. If you're watching this, put me on Subway Takes. I have several hot takes for you. We could record all of them, and then you can just say whatever. Use whichever one you think will get the most views. I don't really care. So, solution. The solution to this problem, right? I'm really bad at making friends. So how do I make friends? First thing you need to do is find some activities you don't mind doing, some type of event you enjoy going to. This could be a running club, a pottery class, a book club, the gym. You can go to volleyball court, like some beach volleyball, skate park, climbing gym. There's so many different things. Find a thing. This is just gonna help you. This isn't mandatory. This is gonna help you make friends very much. You find a thing, a common interest, an interest you have, so that you can go find people with that common interest, and you find that third space. A third space is like you have your house and you have work/school, and then a third space, which is more common in Europe and other parts of the world, not America. It's harder to find in America, but it exists. Is just a place people go to chill and connect and meet people. Like in Europe, in Italy, they just like pull out chairs in front of everyone's houses, and they'll all sit down and just talk. All the old people and the kids run around and play, and like it's just like a little community space. And they're starting to pop up more and more. There's a bunch of them in big cities like New York. I've seen some pages. I've been sent some pages in Vienna where people just like it's like a creative third space, and you go and meet other creative people, and you just talk and hang out, and there's no pressure on anything. You just go to meet people, and that's why everyone else is going too. In America, it's harder. It's definitely more difficult. Like say you get into the climbing gym, you get into rock climbing, bouldering, top rope, whatever, and you start going to the climbing gym. It's not people are there to climb. They're not necessarily there to meet new people. However, what you need to do, what you need to get through your thick skull is that you can talk to people. You can actually talk to people. And this is something I've been forced to learn since I got here, right? Whenever I see someone cool or I see someone I want to speak to, or I literally have no one to talk to and I'm in a space where everyone's talking to each other, what are you going to do? You have to talk. You have to talk to someone. Go find the least intimidating looking person and just say like, hey, you can be so straight up with them. You can use the kindergarten method. When we were in kindergarten, you go up to someone and you're like, hey, do you want to be friends? Let's be friends. Let's be friends. Literally go up to them and just communicate, bro. Go up and say, hey, like I just moved here, or hey, I just got into rock climbing. I want to make some more friends like who are into the same kind of thing. I want to make some climbing friends. Like everyone gets that. Everyone has been there. If they're not also there, okay? You go up to them and you just tell them your story. Say, hey, for me, hey, I just moved to Vienna. I'm like just trying to make some friends. Like, what's up? What's your name? And you like stand there awkwardly, but no one's gonna be like, this guy, what a freaking loser. He has no freaking friends and he wants to talk to me. No one's gonna do that. No one is gonna do that. You can go up to a whole group of people. Groups are actually easier in my experience than just one person, because then it takes the pressure off just one person and they can just chime in when they have something to say to you. You go up to a group of 5 people, right? So people are climbing at the climbing gym and you see them talking to each other and they're clearly friends. Go up to them like, oh, hey, what do you guys, which route is this? Blah, blah, blah. What's the difficulty on this? Like, ask them anything and then say, hey, like, yeah, I don't have any friends who climb. I want some friends who climb. What are your guys' names? They're like, yo, what's up, dude? That's how it is, at least with guys. I'm guessing it's the same with girls. We're all the same, but that's my experience. The kindergarten method works. That's just that's another hot take. Oh my God. Get me on this freaking show, dude. Get me on Subway Takes instantaneously. So what's your take? And then I go, the kindergarten friendship method works. And then he's going to go, 100% agree. And then I'm going to go, yeah, listen, you go up to people and you say, hey, do you want to be friends? People are going to want to be your friend. Blah, blah, blah. Dude, I'd actually be so good on this show. Get me on this show. Get me on this freaking show. If you need help finding a hobby, like a thing to go do, a place to go, one thing I've found helps is thinking about what you like doing as a kid. I've mentioned this so many times, but think about what you like doing as a kid. If you liked your art class when you were in elementary school, find some creative art thing you can go to. There's stuff all over. Like no matter where you live, there's usually something you can do. And if not, you just don't get to have that luxury. If you live in the middle of like a rural town in Oklahoma, like my friend Tanner Ray, maybe the only thing around for miles is like a roller skating rink. Go to the roller skating rink and go up to random people and try to talk to them. It's less nerve-wracking than you think. The biggest thing to keep in mind when you're trying to make friends is in my opinion. Accepting that you will never find the perfect people. You're never gonna find this movie best friend, where you guys grew up together and you live at each other's houses, and your mom and his mom are like so close, and when they come over they just come open the fridge and grab whatever they want, and like they're so comfortable, they're like a sibling. You're probably never gonna find that. And that you just need to accept that. You're probably never going to find that. So if you go in to every friendship trying to get that, no one's ever going to be good enough, because it's never going to work. Unless you legitimately grew up together, that's so difficult to find. And that's not to say you will actually never find that in anybody. But you're most likely not going to. And at least in my experience, when you go into something with the intention of making it that, like, I want this person to be my best friend. I like this person so much. This person's so cool. I want it to be like the movies, where I go to their house and I open their fridge and drink some orange juice, and then their mom walks into the kitchen and is like, "Hey, Issa." That's not gonna happen, bro. It's not like where you're just that comfortable to where you could just walk into someone's house. Oh my God. I always wanted that when I was younger. I thought that would be the coolest thing if I had a friend like that. And I sort of did, my cousin. But we used to like live at each other's houses, me and my cousin. I love that dude. Like, actually my best friend in the world. Like no one could ever beat him, because he has like this unfair advantage that like we grew up together, But I moved away from Michigan when I was 11, and he still lives there. But we still keep contact. We still talk all the time. One day we'll live in the same place again, and it'll be just like the old days. So you need to accept that you're never going to find the perfect people, even though you might. And if you do, it'll just be a pleasant surprise. But at least you weren't disappointed for every single person you met that didn't become that. You need to stop looking for flaws in people too. When I meet someone, I am like the most judgy person internally. I treat everyone the same. I'm like the nicest person when I first meet someone. Actually, I'm nice. I'm too nice all the time, actually. Even if I meet someone and we become friends, and over time I start to see different sides of them, and I'm like, I don't really like how this person treats me or treats other people or whatever. I stay the same. I treat everyone really nice, even when I don't really want to, because I'm just scared to like make people be mad at me. But that's a whole another topic for another video. Man, this podcast is gonna be fun because I have so many topics I could just yap about for hours. Are we still rolling? Dang, we've been going a while. This is a good episode, man. Yeah, I'm just scared to being mean to people. That's another episode. That's a whole episode. Like, genuinely, that's a whole episode. You need to stop looking for flaws in people. Stop being like, oh, I don't like how this person dresses. I don't like this person's sense of humor. Blah, 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 blah. You can have like standards for the people you meet and want to be friends with, but you especially when you have nobody, I found it's just easier to roll with the punches and hang out with whoever without knowing like if they're gonna be your best friend or not. That's something I struggle with. I look for people's flaws all the time. So I've just been trying to blind faith go and meet people. That's what I've been doing since I got to Vienna. I got a DM yesterday from a random person who watches my videos, anonymous account, and it said, hey, me and my friends go to the same school as you. Tomorrow's welcome week. Do you want to come with us? Anonymous account. I was just like, yeah, sure. Yeah, it'd be nice to have someone to go with. And so after I finish filming this, I'm going to go meet up with them, and we're going to have a good day, hopefully. Unless I get, like, murdered or something. If I get murdered, this video never went up. But if I didn't get murdered, you're seeing this video. And finally, my last tip, and this is like a really cool one. This is a very hands-on thing, and I thought of this at the very end. It's the last 3 words I wrote at the bottom of this page, because I think it's very important today, especially in America where it's not readily available. Organize third spaces. I already explained what a third space is, but we need more of those. If you can be the person that says, hey, I'm doing this meetup for this type of person. If you identify with this description of people, if you are a creative person, if you are a sporty person, if you enjoy doing this, a run club, start anything. If there's nothing in your area, no opportunities that you want to like, that you there's nothing you want to go do, create the activity and like post about it online. We live in a day and age where like you can organize the Timothy Chalamet look-alike competition and 15,000 people plus Timothy Chalamet show up in New York City in just like the span of a week and a half. You just put up some flyers and everyone shows up. Like, we live in a day and age where that happens, and you don't need to be in New York City to do it. You know what I'm saying? There's like so many different ways. Think outside the box. If it doesn't exist, the thing you want doesn't exist, make it exist, and you'll make friends that way. And I think that is all I have to say about me and being really bad at making friends. Now let's get into some advice. This person said, how to always be by yourself and still be happy. And I think this is a very common thing. I think everyone goes through a period of their life. Most people go through a period of their life where they are very alone. For me, the first time I've ever experienced this has been recently, since moving here a month ago. I've felt very, very alone. I've just been by myself 24/7. And there's nights where it's harder. Like, it's never just going to be like, I'm happy all the time. You know, you can't do that. But because we humans are social creatures, you need people, you know. So I'd say try some of the strategies I talked about in this podcast to make friends. But in the meantime, while you're working on it, just I think be very attuned to the things you enjoy doing. When you're alone, the benefit of being alone is you can do whatever you want. No one's gonna be annoyed with you because you're watching this YouTube video, or you're watching a movie, or you're reading your book, or you're like nobody. You're not bothering anyone. When you're alone, you can do everything you enjoy, do all the things you enjoy, and also just try to get out and see people. Even if you're alone all the time, just seeing people and being in an environment with other people is a huge help, in my opinion. And I think you'd feel much better on a day where you feel kind of lonely if you got up and went to the park. Go take whatever you were going to sit in your room and do, and go do it at the park. There's going to be other people around. It's going to be fresh air, sunlight, and you're just going to maybe get a nice soda. Not a nice soda? Ew. Get like a nice juice. Get a little smoothie going, you know? Get a friggin' smooth ski. Just hit the park ski. And just like chill ski type shit ski. You know what I mean? Like, you need to like romanticize it just so you can feel good. And if you're that desperate to meet people and you like feel so unhappy and you're at the park and you see someone nearby that you want to speak to, chances are your brain is just going to be like, do it. Just talk to them. Just talk to them. You're going to say something to them. And maybe the conversation doesn't go anywhere. Maybe it's just like, oh, I like your shoes. And they're, oh, thank you. And that's it. But even then, you got to compliment someone. That feels good in itself. On the other side of that is you guys start an actual conversation and you're not alone. Maybe you make a friend, you know? But that doesn't happen if you just sit in your room all day. So you can't sit in your room all day. The worst times I've had since moving here where I felt the loneliest are when I haven't left the house in like 3 days because I've just been editing and reading and just not trying to go outside, you know? Oh, this is such a fitting question for today. So I leave for a month-long solo trip tomorrow. Well, it's past midnight, so today. I have a one-way flight and a couple of nights of accommodation booked in Italy. Awesome. Italy's beautiful. After that, I'm making it up as I go. Any advice on talking to people along the way and just generally making the most of the trip? Or just any places you'd recommend I visit? All right. I think my favorite place I saw in Italy was Florence. I loved Florence. And that was also because I have a friend who goes to fashion school there. Try to go to Florence in Italy. Florence is beautiful. And go to the Amalfi Coast. Like, they'll have a little Call Me By Your Name September. But if it's a month-long solo trip, that's super exciting and super nerve-wracking too. I would say if I had one tip, I've never done a solo trip, like real solo trip where I'm traveling around. Like, I just moved here, you know, but from what I've heard from my friends and stuff, the best way to like really make the most of a trip like that, a solo trip especially, is hostels. stay at hostels. It's like the cheapest accommodation you're gonna be able to find. You like share rooms with other people, and there's usually a bunch of general area spaces where you could sit and talk to them, and it's usually very nice. And I've heard nothing but good experiences from hostels. Like, you could be a little cautious, like make sure you try not to get robbed and stuff, but maybe sleep with your passport in your pillowcase, just because that's kind of important. You don't want to lose that. But I think hostels, you're just going to end up talking to the people in your room. And just some of the tips I've talked about in this video. Just go and talk to people. Hello, Issa. First of all, I love your videos and how articulate you are. You're a breath of fresh air. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Basically, I wanted advice on a romantic relationship I may or may not pursue. I'm 18, female, been in love with my male best friend for a year now, and it hurts to be friends without telling him how I feel. But the thought of losing our years and years of friendship in case he doesn't feel the same way is also extremely scary. What do I do? And just a heads up, I have no clue if he likes me or not, because I don't pass any hints or clues that I like him. It's so funny to me when you guys ask me for romantic advice. I've like never been in a real relationship in my life. Okay, let me think. You like your best friend. That's kind of what you want, though, isn't it? I think you need to ask yourself, like, you want to fall in love with your best friend. Like, that's like the end goal, right? Like, that's like what everyone wants in life. They're like, marry your best friend. That's what everyone says, I think. I think it's something like that, the saying. I think you need to find out how badly this is affecting you, how much this hurts. Are you friends with them because you're secretly hoping that they're gonna confess their feelings for you? Is that why you're friends with them? If that never happens, and you know for a fact, if I told you right now that was never gonna happen, would you still like care about and value the friendship as much as you do now? Or deep down, do you just really want it to be romantic? You know, because if you only want it to be romantic, there is no point in just sticking around and being friends. I think you should confess your love. Confess your love for your friend. And you can communicate like, hey, I don't want this to like ruin everything we've ever had, all our years of friendship, but I like you more than this, and blah, blah, blah. You know, like you can phrase it. I'm not going to do it for you, but you know what I mean? I think figure out where your head truly lies in the situation. Like, look deep inside yourself and make that decision. And I think you should tell them, you know, and if it ends the friendship, it ends the friendship, you know. But if you really need it to be a romantic thing and it's not, you should probably tell them. I don't know. That's my advice. Hopefully that helped a little bit. I don't know. You guys should not be asking me these questions. Hey, with 2 Y's, could you give some advice on finding your group of people? I've never felt like I really fit anywhere. Not to sound edgy or anything. Haha. Sorry. I mean, I have friends who I really get along with, but I don't feel as though they truly resonate with me all the time. I suppose I've always felt out of place, no matter who I'm with, at least in group settings. It's not a confidence issue either. I really love myself, and I'd say I have a strong sense of identity for my age. Again, I do have friends, though granted not that many, who I love and get along with, but still feel this way. Have you ever experienced this? Do you think one really finds their group of people at some point? I'm still in high school, of course, so I'm probably being dramatic, but I'm worried I'll never get rid of this feeling when I'm with people, even in college. I actually talked about this today in the pod. You're never going to find your group of people, and you need to accept that. It's a tough thing to swallow. Like, you want to find that perfect friend group where everything fits into place. Like you know when you watched Outer Banks for the first time and you're watching episode 1 and John B's like, that's JJ, my best friend since blah, 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 blah. He's so cool and awesome. That's Pope, the brains of the operation. He's such a genius. That's Key, blah, 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 blah. And like, he's just explaining his friend group and everyone has these little titles and like cool little things. Like, that's not real life, and that's what sucks. Cause that's like 1 in a million you're gonna find that. And if you do, great. That's like, I'm so happy for you. But you can't go into it with the expectation that that's what it's gonna be, because it's most of the time not going to, and then you're gonna feel dissatisfied with every friendship you have. And that's all I have to say about this. You just try your best, man. Just try to not look for people's flaws. That's what I've found. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Dear Diary. If you're here on YouTube, consider subscribing. If you're here on Spotify, consider following the podcast and rating it 5 stars, please, and thank you. If you're here anywhere else, I don't know what you can do, but yeah, the video version of this podcast is available on Spotify and YouTube. That's why I mentioned them. Next week's episode just came out on Patreon at the same time that this video came out. So if you want to check that out, you can subscribe to the Patreon for $5 a month. And there's all kinds of bonus content. Subscribe to my actual YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. Do whatever you want. Blah, 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 blah. That's all. I'm not going to plug too many things. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. Good night.
Yeah, you've got a friend in me.